Growing up, my uncle was more like a second father to me. I admired him. He was kind, protective, and always had a way of making me feel safe. Our families were close-knit, often spending holidays and weekends together. It seemed like a picture-perfect relationship between my mother, father, and the rest of our extended family. Everything changed one summer when my parents went away on vacation. My uncle, who had just gone through a rough divorce, came to stay with us for a few weeks to get back on his feet. At first, there were no signs that anything was amiss, but soon, I began to notice strange behavior. There were late-night phone calls where my uncle would walk out to the porch and talk in hushed tones. He'd often look around as though afraid someone might overhear. I chalked it up to him being anxious about his post-divorce life. But then, the signs became undeniable. One evening, I returned home early from work and walked into my house, only to hear soft, unfamiliar voices coming from the back of the house. I froze at the entrance to the living room, and through the crack in the door, I saw my uncle tangled in a passionate kiss with a woman who wasn't his ex-wife. I couldn't believe it. My uncle, the man I had always trusted, was betraying my aunt in my own house. The shock and confusion were overwhelming. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront him? Should I tell my parents? My heart was racing as I stumbled away from the door, feeling like I had been punched in the stomach. Days passed, and the weight of that moment didn't leave me. I couldn't shake the image of him with her. And every time I looked at him, I felt a mix of anger, disgust, and sadness. But it wasn't just the affair that broke me. It was the way I felt torn between the love I had for my uncle and the deep sense of betrayal that had engulfed me. I felt like I was in the middle of a terrible secret, one that threatened to ruin the foundation of everything I thought was safe and stable in my life. Eventually, the truth came out. My aunt found out about the affair, and the entire family was torn apart. But what hurt even more was how my uncle refused to take full responsibility for his actions. He blamed everything on the emotional turmoil of his divorce, trying to justify his betrayal. His excuses didn't just hurt my aunt. They shattered the trust I had in him forever. For a long time, I couldn't face him without feeling a deep sense of loss. The uncle I had looked up to, who had always been a figure of stability, had shattered that image in a single moment. I couldn't undo the damage. I couldn't unknow what I had seen. The betrayal left scars on my family. Trust was broken, and relationships were never the same. The emotional toll was immeasurable. I had to learn how to navigate family gatherings with a sense of detachment, trying to find normalcy in an environment forever altered by lies and broken promises. In the years that followed, my relationship with my uncle was never the same. Every time we spoke, I felt like there was an invisible wall between us. I struggled with forgiveness, not only for his actions, but also for the pain it caused everyone around us. The emotional distance created by that single act of infidelity was something I couldn't undo, no matter how much time passed. Infidelity often begins with a simple breach of trust, which, over time, morphs into something far more devastating and irreparable. Trust is the cornerstone of any relationship, particularly in romantic and familial bonds. It is the invisible thread that holds people together, making them feel secure, valued, and understood. In the context of intimate relationships, this trust is not only emotional, but also psychological, as partners rely on each other for support, affection, and stability. When infidelity enters the picture, this trust is shattered in an instant, leaving behind emotional wreckage that can be difficult to repair. The initial discovery of infidelity is often a profound shock to the person who is betrayed. It can feel like a physical blow, as though the foundation of one's entire existence has been cracked. The sense of safety and predictability that once existed in the relationship is replaced with confusion and disbelief. Questions flood the mind. How could this happen? Was everything a lie? How did I miss the signs? These questions are often coupled with intense feelings of betrayal, as the person who has been unfaithful is usually someone the betrayed individual deeply loved and trusted. The emotional response can range from anger to despair, but the underlying theme is always a sense of profound loss. The loss of the person they thought they knew and the future they envisioned together. For many, infidelity is a deeply personal violation because it cuts to the heart of their self-worth and emotional security. When someone betrays the trust that has been built over time, it can trigger feelings of inadequacy or failure. The individual who has been betrayed often begins to question their own worthiness, wondering if they were not enough to keep their partner loyal. This feeling of inadequacy is compounded by the emotional isolation that often follows. The person who has been hurt may not feel comfortable discussing the pain with friends or family, especially if they are still processing the shock. Instead, they may retreat inward, battling feelings of self-doubt, shame, and humiliation. These emotions often linger long after the discovery of infidelity, making it difficult for the person to move forward. One of the most insidious aspects of infidelity is that it can erode more than just the relationship between the two individuals involved. It can affect a wider circle of people, including friends and family, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond the immediate betrayal. In some cases, the person who has been cheated on may struggle with feelings of betrayal, not only from their partner, but from others around them. For instance, friends or family members who may have known about the affair or suspected something amiss may inadvertently contribute to the sense of isolation by failing to provide support or by taking sides. This can make the emotional pain even more complex, as the betrayed person not only feels hurt by their partner, but also alienated from their support system. The psychological impact of such betrayal can often last much longer than the affair itself, leaving behind a lasting scar on the individual's mental and emotional well-being. The act of betrayal also leaves behind a trail of unanswered questions, many of which never receive closure. The person who has been cheated on may wonder if there were signs they missed or if there were moments when their partner could have been more open and honest. The emotional turbulence caused by the betrayal often leads to an obsession with finding out every detail of the affair, as if knowing everything about it might somehow bring resolution. However, this often only deepens the wound, as the more the betrayed person uncovers, the more difficult it becomes to reconcile the image of their partner with the reality of their actions. The emotional turmoil of trying to understand why the betrayal happened can often consume a person's thoughts, making it challenging for them to heal or move forward. Ultimately, the betrayal of trust leaves an indelible mark on the individual who has been wronged. It creates a sense of vulnerability that can make it difficult for them to trust others, even in future relationships. The fear of being hurt again can cause a person to build emotional walls, becoming guarded and hesitant to open up. In some cases, the person who has been betrayed may even push away potential partners or loved ones, fearing that history will repeat itself. The scars left by the betrayal of trust are not always visible, but they can affect a person's emotional and psychological landscape for years to come. Healing from such a deep violation requires time, effort, and often professional support, as it is not simply the relationship that needs to be repaired, but the individual's sense of self-worth and trust in others. Infidelity within the context of a family often creates a complex web of emotional conflict, confusion, and deeply rooted tension. When a betrayal of trust happens within a family, the emotional fallout extends far beyond the two people directly involved in the affair. It disrupts the family structure, causing ripple effects that reverberate through all relationships, even those seemingly unaffected by the infidelity. Family dynamics are grounded in shared experiences, common bonds, and a sense of collective loyalty. When that loyalty is broken, it fractures not only the couple's relationship but the broader emotional foundation of the family unit. At the heart of this emotional conflict is the sense of loyalty that family members feel towards each other. Families are often built on trust, understanding, and mutual support. In the case of infidelity, that trust is suddenly violated, leaving everyone who is part of the family feeling betrayed in different ways. The spouse or partner who is cheated on experiences a profound sense of personal betrayal. However, the emotional damage doesn't stop there. Children, siblings, and extended family members such as parents or close relatives are also affected by the affair. Even if they aren't directly involved, they may feel the weight of the emotional distress caused by the infidelity. In many cases, family members must navigate the tricky terrain of deciding whom to support, how to manage their emotions, and what to say or not say to the person who has been hurt. This can create tension and division within the family, as individuals struggle to balance their emotional loyalty to one side while also trying to maintain harmony. The presence of infidelity within a family often leads to emotional confusion. The betrayed individual, for example, may feel torn between their deep love for their partner and the overwhelming pain of betrayal. At the same time, they may be trying to shield their children or extended family members from the trauma, which only intensifies their emotional burden. When infidelity is discovered, families often face difficult decisions about whether to stay silent, confront the issue, or openly discuss it. Each decision carries its own set of challenges, but the emotional strain of dealing with such a personal violation in a public setting can create long-term turmoil. For children, infidelity is often particularly confusing and emotionally damaging. Children are naturally inclined to believe in the idea of family stability, where both parents are committed to each other. When they discover that one parent has been unfaithful, it undermines their sense of safety and security. Depending on the child's age and understanding of relationships, they may interpret the infidelity as a sign that love is fragile, fleeting, or unreliable. In some cases, children may also feel a sense of guilt, wondering if the affair was somehow their fault. Their perception of trust, love, and relationships may be irrevocably altered as they witness the fallout from infidelity. In the context of extended families, the emotional conflict becomes even more complicated. In cases where a close relative, such as an aunt, uncle, or sibling, is the one who has been unfaithful, the situation can cause fractures within the larger family unit. The family is often placed in a difficult position of choosing sides or managing the tension between supporting the victim while still maintaining relationships with the perpetrator. There may also be moments of deep discomfort during family gatherings where unresolved emotions linger and awkward silences prevail. For some, it becomes difficult to look at the person who committed the betrayal without feeling anger or disappointment. The betrayal within the family often leads to a clash of emotions and divided opinions about how to proceed. Some family members may want to confront the unfaithful person, demanding answers and justice, while others may believe in offering forgiveness and trying to restore peace. The person who has been cheated on may struggle with the decision of whether to forgive their partner or family member and repair the relationship or move on and sever ties. These emotional conflicts, which stem from the need for both personal healing and family unity, can cause rifts that take years to mend, if they are repaired at all. Furthermore, when family members try to handle the fallout of infidelity in unhealthy or secretive ways, it can further damage the family dynamics. For instance, some family members might attempt to shield one party from the truth, or refuse to acknowledge the pain and trauma caused by the affair. This avoidance or denial only prolongs the emotional agony, as the affected person is left without the space to grieve or process the betrayal fully. In these cases, the unspoken tension can fester, creating divisions that last for generations. In the aftermath of infidelity, the family's emotional balance is inevitably altered. The feelings of betrayal, hurt, and anger are compounded by the stress of trying to maintain unity and navigate through an emotionally charged environment. Relationships within the family must be redefined, and the emotional wounds caused by infidelity require healing over time. The challenge becomes not only rebuilding trust between the individuals directly involved, but also restoring a sense of emotional harmony within the larger family structure. This process is often messy, complex, and fraught with emotional obstacles that take years to overcome.